Hello, and welcome back to Earth of Mystery. Today we'll be going over the tragic story of Joao Pimenta da Silva, a Brazilian man in search of a dream. Unbeknownst to him, this dream would have a devastating end. If you enjoy viewing or listening to this type of content from the comfort of your home or setting, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future content. Joao Pimenta da Silva was a 71-year-old Brazilian man. He resided in a place called Ipatinga, which is a municipality in eastern Minas Gerais state in Brazil. For reference, the state of Minas Gerais, which names translates to General Mines, is located 661 kilometers north of the famous Rio de Janeiro. As the name suggests, the largest source of wealth in Minas Gerais is mining. The place has long been known for its wealth of minerals and its mining activities, supplying more than half the mineral production of Brazil. Gold was discovered in 1698, and in 1729 diamonds were discovered. Minas Gerais is also widely known for other semi-precious gems, such as aquamarine, amethyst, tourmaline, and topaz, and it is an important source of industrial diamonds and large quartz crystals. In modern times, however, the concentration has shifted to vast deposits of high-grade iron ore and manganese. Now that we have discussed a bit more of the place's history, we can clearly understand why riches have been engraved into many of the locals' minds. So, it is believed that one night in 2022, 71-year-old Pimenta da Silva was getting ready for bed as usual. However, this time, during his night's sleep, he claims, as recounted by his neighbor Antonio Costa, that an apparition or spirit had spoken to him, making a very compelling revelation that he could not refuse. Pimenta was convinced by the spirit that in the ground below his home lay a golden treasure, hidden under a rock, and it was his for the taking. His neighbor, Antonio, was skeptical and laughed about this crazy idea from Pimenta da Silva at first. However, Pimenta was able to convince him to help in this huge endeavor. Right away, they both started the excavation, which laid in the middle of his kitchen floor. At first, they were using archaic and homemade tools, but as the hole in the ground was getting deeper and deeper, they soon realized two things. They needed more sophisticated tools to help get the job done properly, and they needed more help, meaning they needed additional manpower. In the early stages, when the hole was shallow, he was paying his helpers around 70 Brazilian reals. That would be around $15 per day. But the deeper the hole got, the more expensive it became, and Pimenta da Silva was by no means a wealthy person. So when he started to realize how challenging this undertaking was, he started selling all of his possessions, including even his real estate holdings, in order to afford this extra help. Some say he ended up paying around 495 Brazilian reals to anyone who entered the hole and helped remove earth. A year later, it is said that he was paying some up to $500 per day to help remove earth from the hole. And the reason for this is because by then, the hole was reported to be 3 feet wide and 40 meters in depth. For context, this is approximately the height of a 12-story building, if we assume 10 feet per story. Everything would come to a tragic end on Friday, January 5 of 2024. According to his neighbor Antonio Costa, Pimenta da Silva was trying to get rid of water and mud that was pooled down at the bottom of this shaft. They had even lowered a pump into the hole and managed to remove several buckets of water, but there was an obstruction at the end of this shaft that Pimenta da Silva wanted to check for himself. It was a large rock that was apparently blocking the way and hindering the excavation, if they didn't get past it. So much so that rumors had spread out that Pimenta da Silva was inquiring into setting some type of explosive down there to blow it up. Additionally, and for context, as explained earlier, this by no means was a professional excavation. It is only said that Pimenta da Silva had some previous experience in excavating. So the way people got actually down to the shaft to perform the work was by this makeshift repurposed shout swing that Pimenta da Silva had made, in which the person had to be lowered slowly by someone else up in the surface. So, as Pimenta da Silva was being lowered down by his neighbor, all of a sudden, he called out to Antonio Costa, telling him to stop and to pull him back up right away. Antonio Costa didn't think anything of it and just said okay, and started pulling him back up. Then, for some unknown reason, Pimenta da Silva somehow slipped from the swing-like device, and his arm became entangled in the swing's rope. When Antonio Costa noticed what was happening, he quickly and firmly held on to the rope. Now, on this day, it was only Pimenta da Silva and Antonio Costa working on this. There was no one else that could go out and call for help. As recounted by his neighbor Antonio, he tried desperately to pull Pimenta da Silva up with all his strength, but it was of no use. Unfortunately, the inevitable happened. Pimenta da Silva slipped out from the rope completely and fell down the 130-foot deep shaft, and Antonio Costa was unable to do anything other than watch and listen to when Pimenta da Silva crashed to the bottom of the shaft. Following this, Antonio Costa ran to go get help. In the afternoon of Friday, January the 5th, firefighters called to the scene found Pimenta da Silva dead at the bottom of the shaft. After he was extracted from the shaft and taken for an autopsy, he exhibited polytrauma, open fractures on both legs, a hip fracture, lacerations to the abdomen, as well as widespread abrasions, and obviously no signs of life. Despite Pimenta da Silva's tragic ending, the authorities on scene were really impressed with the craftsmanship of the dig site. As shown in the images collected by the firefighters, Pimenta da Silva and his helpers managed to dig an almost perfect cylindrical hole all the way down to 130 feet. At the moment, the only thing known is that the excavation started approximately a year ago. There was no information on exactly how long they were excavating or how everything was actually organized, since Pimenta da Silva never shared these details with his family members. Sometimes you hear people say to follow your dreams, and Pimenta da Silva certainly did, to the ends of the earth. Sadly, his prophetic vision of gold beneath his house led not to riches but to his tragic demise, when he plunged 130 feet to his death. At the time of this recording, we can consider this to be a recent event. So there are still many unanswered questions about Pimenta da Silva's death and the hole that caused it. But since the man's family didn't even know about his treasure hunt, they will probably remain unanswered. If you are still here, many thanks for watching, and again, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future content. As you can see, this channel is just starting out, so please feel free to comment below with any suggestions or recommendations that you may have. I hope to see you at the next one.